Well, it's the first time that we've actually went live here on the Carolina Jackpot channel in I don't know how long. So I will let some people get some time to get in here to the room and watch the video. We're 22, 23, 24 seconds in right now, and we're still at a big fat goose egg. In your terms, that means zero. Oh God, we got one viewer. So we're going to get into it right now, straight up. We're going to talk the 2020 Tennessee Volunteers this evening on the Carolina Jackpot channel. We're going to do the pick and prediction video. Now, if any of y'all watched the live recording the other night of the Rob Comrade and Kale Show podcast, you already know what side of the fence that Carolina Jackpot fell on with these picks and predictions. But now I'm going to do it on my own time with my own dialogue and all this, that, and other. So there's that. Shout out to all the new subscribers that we've gotten the past week or so, past couple weeks. We've seen an increase in the numbers, and I do appreciate that. By the way, this video is brought to you by Miller Lite and Big Orange, I guess, because that's who we're talking about today is Tennessee. But feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below. It just piggybacking off of a video I did earlier this week, I talked about Mississippi State running back Colin, whatever your name is, Hill, kid who, God, he threatens to not play for the team this year if they don't change the state flag in Mississippi. Here's my thing. A lot of people, and I knew I was going to catch it too, y'all. I knowed I was going to catch it when I went on ahead and posted that video, but I didn't care. I knowed I was going to catch a lot of flack, and I was going to get a lot of thumbs down on them videos, but guess what? I knowed I was also going to get a lot of thumbs up, and that's exactly what happened. My thing is, I got out there and I spoke my mind. I told you how I felt, okay? There were a lot of comments in the comment section, probably more than any we've had on any video this year, which it's a controversial topic, so I expected that, right? But a lot of them were well thought out comments that came from the heart, I believe, and these dudes typed out like paragraphs, okay? But they didn't think, and they didn't bother to watch the whole video, is the thing. They just saw that it was about, a Mississippi State flag and this and that, so they automatically did what? They jumped to assuming that, I have something negative. I have nothing negative to say about the young man's beliefs or any of that. Okay, and talking about that Mississippi State flag, it's not a Confederate flag. I mean, it has a piece of it there in the state flag, but it's not a Confederate flag. So you can argue that point. In South Carolina, they took the thing down off the state house and put it in a museum. That's what the state of Mississippi needs to do. They need to take it off of wherever. It needs to not be their state flag anymore. This needs not to be. They need to get an artist, whoever the fucking artist is that makes up state flags, and get him or her to render a new state flag, or two or three for people to choose from, and then let the people vote on it, and then get rid of the thing, because it doesn't have a place in your state. I mean, it really doesn't. It should, though, be in a museum, because it's part of your state's heritage, whether you like it or not, and it's part of your history. And that way, the people who wants to look at it can look at it. And then the people who don't want to look at it, they don't have to look at it. The people who think it's a symbolism of hatred, slavery, bad times, or whatever, you don't have to look at it. And the people who think of it as a symbol of heritage, history, something my forefathers, then you can look at it too. Okay, and then everybody can be happy, and you don't even have to damn talk about it. You don't even have to say, "Hey, y'all, I went in that room and looked at that old state flag. It was pretty cool," or whatever. Just fucking forget about it. And the thing about tearing down all these statues and this and that, I understand why people are having a movement to do it. I understand that, but my thing is, guys and gals, don't you think it costs a pretty penny to pay some folks to tear those statues down? I mean, it really does. I mean, to tear them down, to load them up on some shit, load them up on a damn flatbed truck or 2 or 3 flatbed trucks and move them around, that costs a lot of money. It costs a lot. And in case you haven't noticed, we're in the middle of a damn pandemic. We're in the middle of yours and my fellow Americans, brothers and sisters dying, okay? Yeah, I understand it. Most of them are older people. Okay, well, they're all old people is dying, so let's just let them go die in a nursing home. It'll be all right. It's okay, because they was all elderly. They didn't deserve to lie like that, did they? No. Why don't we put some more money and effort into that right now, at this point in time, and then we can focus on the other later on. That's just all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And you know, we need to focus on what's important right now. That's all I'm saying. We just need to focus on what's important right now. I'm not saying that, you know, taking down a statue of a racist individual from the past is not the right thing to do. I mean, it is the right thing to do, but I mean, I think you should take a back burner to research to kill this freaking disease that's killing all these people. Yes, I don't have my mask on right now because I'm out here in front of my own double wide where I can do my own thing. And, you know, the only thing I'm socially distancing myself from right now is this dog who's like 7 months old and already has like a 12-inch tongue. Like, he's holding it out, panting all over everything. I don't know if anybody's chatting with me. I don't have any kind of comments. I really don't. And if you're here, say something. Because I don't, it has been literally, guys, it's been literally, I'm going to turn this camera like this for just a second. So it might look a little silly or retarded. Now, I guess I don't. I hate that. Because if I am getting chat comments, I hate to not see them. But it has been literally forever since Carolina Jackpot's gone live on a video. It's probably been since like last football season or like during a scratch ticket video. So, any rate, if you do comment, I'll see them later on. I can respond to them. But we're going to talk 2020 Tennessee Vols. Let's get to what we're talking about right now. I'm not, you know, negative stuff here. And like I said, the videos I made, I understand that I may have ruffled some jimmies. Ruffled jimmies means that piss people off. Look at it. My thumbs up's going from 10 to 9 to 10, 11. Okay, whatever. I mean, hit the thumbs down button if you can, okay? Hello, it's Saturday night. We can't be all that damn drunk right now. You know, can you understand the difference between thumbs up and thumbs down? Hit the damn thumbs up if you're in the room, okay? Because I'm doing this for your entertainment and mine too, and my health. And I'm drinking Miller Lite beer to lower my cholesterol. Cholesterol. Listen at me. I sound like I got spaghetti in my teeth. Cholesterol. 2020 Tennessee Vols. But I do apologize if I ruffled Jimmy's. But I'm not going to apologize for the fact that your Jimmy's got ruffled, if that makes any sense, okay? Meaning that I will believe the way that I want to believe. And I believe that you can't just go out here and demand shit, okay? You can't just go out here and demand shit be done your way just because, you know, you have a platform to speak on, or I'm not doing this. I mean, to me, a guy demanding that they go out here and rip this flag down that's been there for however many years, and they don't have, you know, a recourse right at this particular point in time when there are so many more important things going on right now, is stupid. Okay, it's stupid. You need to check yourself, bro. You need to check yourself on that. Just check yourself on that. Let put it on the back burner until later on, is all I'm saying. don't, get your panties in a wad and just demand stuff right all of a sudden and hold Mike Leach, the pirate, who happens to be a really crazy, cool son of a bitch, hostage, as well as your teammates and your fans. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that dude right now. I've gave him enough hell, and I've done 10 minutes of it right now, and that's way too much, more than it deserves. Talking about 2020 Tennessee Vols. His team finished up they finished up 8-5 last year, which was a pretty good mark. They went to a bowl game and won the Gator Bowl against Indiana, which is kind of disappointing to me that Indiana lost that game. I went to bed on it, actually fell asleep, and Indiana was winning the game. At halftime, they just pulled ahead. They were ahead in the third quarter, and I fell asleep. I was like, oh, they got this in the bag, yeah. And I wake up at like 2:30 and see Sports Center, and I see that the Vols had won. I was freaking pissed, man. I was. And it's not being a South Carolina fan that I really hate Tennessee. I don't have anything against them. I just don't like the fact that in the mind's eye of the public, they've moved ahead of us, okay? And, on paper, they have. We're going to talk about have they really. This year, you are returning on offense 9 starters. That's strong. That's solid. That's solid for anybody. Anybody would love to have that. Thing is, most of them are along the offensive line. You're returning Trey Smith, who is the number 10 overall returning player in the SEC. I learned that from my buddy Comrade that does the podcast with me. And that's stout. Trey Smith's stout. I'm glad to see him back. Hopefully he's healthy now, and he's over the illness that he had, from like a season ago that kept him out of some games. Cade Mays coming in. I'm going to play right guard for you. Hopefully he'll be able to play, which he should supplant one of the starters there. So you'll have an offensive line that's totally starters, and that's a great thing. Anybody in America would love to have that, okay? The problem is your skill position players are meh. They're just meh. It's really not good. It's really not a good situation. Jarrett Guarantano, your quarterback, who's a senior, and last year I can't say a whole lot about him because he Guantanamo Bay, as Uncle Lou calls him. He beat my Gamecocks. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, after several years of failing to do so, he's the incoming starter. He'll be the starter. The guy, Brian Maurer, a sophomore this year, and everybody thought he was going to be the next best thing last year after, he showed a few flashes of being decent, I think, against Georgia and Alabama. But then you look at his stats, dude hit threw 2 touchdowns and he hit 5 interceptions. He threw more than half of his completions as far as scoring or as a stat-wise, whatever you call it, scratch that, to the other team. That's not good. 541 yards, 35 out of 75. I mean, it's barely 50%. So, I ain't sold on him at this point in time. Running back, you return Ty Chandler. Let's give me a big yawn on that. I mean, he's been there for several years. I mean, guy ain't never really produced nothing, ain't really done anything spectacular. But, a lot of Vol fans just claim he's the next best thing. He's the next breakout star. He's just waiting. He's like a peach on the vine, and just ready to pick. He's just, it ain't happened. Eric Gray, who's the other running back, is the one that I see that actually has a little bit of promise and maybe skill about itself, and I expect to probably be the full-time starter several games into your season this year. Ty Chandler just ain't doing nothing for Carolina Jackpot, and I don't think he's really doing a whole hell of a lot for the Tennessee Vols, blocking-wise, running-wise, nothing. I mean, he's just not, 655 yards last year, which is almost you're decent. You're approaching on 700, but you only rushed for 3 touchdowns, and then Eric Gray rushed for a lot less yards, and you scored 6 touchdowns, twice as many. Yeah, so he has a little bit of breakaway speed. Him, Tim Jordan, the guy who was like number 3 running back, they done kicked him off the team, so we'll see where they land. You recruited really well, or decently well, over the past few years, and in 2021's class, you're like number 2 right now. You're number 2. Jeremy Pruitt, Mr. Snake Oil Salesman, he is grinding it up, boy. He's got it going on right now. The thing about it is, ain't none of these guys going to help you here in 2020. Even if we even have a football season. So there's that. So at wide receiver, my thing is, what are you going to do to replace Jawan Jennings and Marquez Callaway? These dudes have been around ever since the Flintstones were popular. I mean, they have been around for a long time. They've been rocking Tennessee orange the hard way, the long way, though. I mean, they have been around for a long time. They've been around since 2016, the next to last year of Butch Lyle Jones. And some really impressive numbers. Jawan, almost 1,000 yards receiving last year and 8 TDs. How you going to replace that? Marquez, about 700 yards receiving last year and 6 touchdowns. How you going to replace that? You have Josh Palmer coming back, got a senior, and he caught a grand total of 1 touchdown pass last year. Great. That's awesome. I love it. Now, on the flip side, for the Gamecocks, we got a guy named Shy Smith who's coming back. I'll be a junior this year, and he's our leading receiver coming back, and he caught like 400 yards of balls last year. It's going to be a bad year for receivers in the SEC. In the SEC East, I feel like. In the SEC West, seems to be pretty stacked this year as far as receiver position goes. But we're in some trouble. So it's all going to hinge on how well can these new kids play at wide receiver for you. How well is Guantanamo Bay going to be able to play? Will Brian Maurer be able to spell him and be effective? And is Eric Gray going to be the next breakout star? That's really what your was, because as far as offensive line goes, you're set. You're either the number 1 or 2 offensive line in the SEC. And nobody's debating that, but if you don't have the skill position talent to match up and you can't do anything with it, then it's kind of a big waste. I mean, it really is. And that's not a knock on Tennessee. I mean, that's just facts. I mean, you'd think you could balance it out a little bit better. It's just unfortunate that's the way that things come about. As far as defense goes, last year, defensively, you were okay. You return Aubrey Solomon on defensive end as a senior this year. Guy went to Michigan and then transferred. You got to replace some guys up front. You return, linebacker. I think his name is Henry Toto. They do that song about him. Don't mess with my toot toot. Don't you mess with my toot toot. You can make him me, huh? Anyway, I forgot that I did that. Toot Toot is returning. He's your second leading tackler, actually. He had 72 tackles last year under Daniel Batulele, who had 88 of them, and he's gone. Darrell Taylor had 8.5 sacks last year, which was huge. He's gone as well. Nigel Warrior, 4 interceptions. And guess what? Gone, son. He's also gone. So you got a lot to replace there, too. Defensive backfield, you're in decent shape. Jalen McCullough, one kid that comes to mind, Sean Schamberger. I think I had one of those when I went to Pittsburgh. Seems to be pretty decent. And then you have the effervescent Bryce Thompson at quarterback, or cornerback, excuse me, like an all-SEC third-teamer. I'm not going to give this guy any respect. He threatened to burn your school down and beat up his girlfriend. So I'm not sold on him. I mean, he is a good player, but character-wise, he has more than a few flaws. So let's just get past talking about that. Special teams-wise, I think you'll be okay. Paxton Brooks is going to be your punter, And then Brett Samaglia returns at the place kicking position. He's a senior this year, 23 or 27 last year on field goals. So he nails almost everything. It seems like Tennessee always has a good place kicker, going back to the days of Jeff Hall. My last name's actually Hall, and he was a cousin of mine, distantly, I do believe. I don't know that for a fact, but it sounded good. Anyway, let's get into your 2020 schedule and give my prediction on this thing. September 5th, you got home game against Charlotte, the 49ers. They're a decent Conference USA team last year. They made a bowl game for the first time. And Brent Healy, is his name Brent Healy? Will Healy. Will Healy's a good young coach. Somebody that I'm kind of keeping my eye on too. I'm keeping my eye on these dudes. I'm not gonna lie to you. Will Healy, shut up. Will Healy, Luke Fickell, Matt Campbell at Iowa State. Luke Fickell, by the way, at Cincinnati, if you don't know anything about college football. Another guy that intrigues me and kind of has my radars up a little bit, even though he's not a young guy, he's an older coach that has won a shit ton of games wherever he's been at. Nobody's really talking about him. He's not on anybody's radar, and I don't really know if he's interested in making a move or not. Is a gentleman. We're gonna have to deal with that. Ziggy, stop. His name is Lance Leopold. He is the head coach at Buffalo. Now, Buffalo was nothing before this guy arrived, but ever since then, he has finished like first, second, or third in the MAC every year that he's been there, winning like 9, 10 games a year. Really stout at the running back positions too. And I looked at his overall record, and it appears wherever he was at before Buffalo, and it must have been like a Division II or III school. I think he lost like 3 or 4 games in like the span of 5, 6 years, just by judging from the guy's overall record. So that could be somebody interesting that nobody's talking about. And I've always had a love affair with the Navy coach Ken Niumatalolo. I would like to see him move somewhere else, and I would love to see him come to South Carolina. I think he would be a disciplinarian like Muschamp, and I think he'd be a guy that players like Muschamp. And let's just face it, Muschamp is liked by his players. He's liked by them. The problem is that the guy's football acumen sucks, and he's a terrible head coach. But other than that, people like him. And I think Niumatalolo is a good guy. He's a good Christian man. He believes in what he believes in. Let's face it, he brings that offense to Columbia. If he could execute it and, throw some wrinkles in there, because you're not going to be able to attract the top high school talent just running that vanilla ice cream bullshit all the time. They can win a lot of ball games, and there were a lot of people that couldn't stop it. But, getting off of that rabbit hole I just went down to, you get the win at home against Charlotte. The next game is on the road at Oklahoma on September the 12th. Loss. People are talking about this as a fashionable upset pick. And, I mean, I get it and everything. With Oklahoma, they've got, some question marks. They got a new quarterback taking over. But guess what? He's good. He's good. Spencer Rattler is good. Lincoln Riley is a good head coach. He's a good young head coach. He was another one that I think the Gamecocks either didn't interview, or they offered to interview him, or somebody fucked that one up somehow or another, we're the Gamecocks. What do? We fuck things up all the time. It's nothing new. But there was some interest there at one point in time back in 2015. Anyway, he's a good offensive mind. Kenny Brooks coming back. He's over 1,000-yard rusher. They got a young receiving core they're going to take off. They've been recruiting well. They're always good offensively. Their defense has never been great, especially within the last 10 years or so, but they've gotten better. You're not winning that game on the road. Sorry. And people that think that it'll be close at the end, I mean, that's just a statement that's just laced with ludicrousy. It's not. You're losing that game, and you're probably losing by 3 touchdowns. It may be close for a half, but you're not winning. The next week, you are at home against Furman. I'm going to give you the win there. Furman's a good FCS team, though. From my hometown right here near me in Greenville, South Carolina. Went to many a Furman basketball game as a Ute. And enjoyed it. I went to some Furman football games as well. But you're not going to beat, or excuse me, they're not beating you guys in Neyland Stadium. It won't be close. I'd say like a 45-7 game or something like that. With Tennessee getting the win. Next week, you're at home against Florida. This is a big one. It's a big one for you guys. Yeah, this is the trendy upset pick. As far as SEC games go in 2020, that Tennessee, finally going to get the monkey off their back, which didn't you get the monkey off your back a few years ago and beat Florida at home? I don't see it. I'm sorry, loss. I'm giving you a loss there. I mean, they beat you 34-3 last year. And you haven't improved your squad that much in 1 year's time to be able to totally flip this thing by like 31 points at home. I mean, I do think it'll be close. I think it'll be a good game, but you're not going to win it. Kyle Trask, I mean, he came out of nowhere last year and really played well. Impressed a lot of people, impressed me. The kind of throws he could make. I mean, the guy just slid into that starting position at Florida. It's like it was a glove. And make no mistake about it, that is a high-pressure position to have to be in. As a starting quarterback at the University of Florida, took over for Beans and Franks when he got injured, and they didn't skip a beat. In fact, they improved a lot. Nothing against Beans and Franks, but if he had been the starter last year, that would have been an 8-9 win team. In other words, they got a couple games out of Kyle Trask. You're not winning that game. You're not going to beat Florida at home. Sorry, it's not happening. Next week, you are at home against Missouri. I'm giving you a win there, but be careful. Missouri is got an offensive-minded coach now, finally, and Eli Drinkowitz, a guy with some energy. They return Larry Roundtree III, who's rushed for over 1,000 yards each the past 2 seasons. They got to figure some stuff out at quarterback, but they have Sean Robinson from Texas A&M, or TCU coming in. And he's not a slouch. I mean, Gary Patterson's a good football coach. I'm sure he had his kid coached up pretty good. He transferred in there. Look for him to be one of the underrated players this year in the SEC, and a guy that people have a little bit of a trouble stopping, because he's going to bring a dimension that a lot of SEC defenses may not have seen in the past. Missouri, and they always have a good defense. You can expect them to be solid and well coached. This last year I felt like they were solid. I felt like they were well coached, but offensively they were just the shits. And therein lied the problem with Missouri, and why Barry Odom eventually ended up getting the axe there. I'm going to give you the win at home against Missouri. That will put your record at 3-2 after 5 games, and then we're going to head into another stretch of the season. Now, stay with me. I have to take a little pit stop. I'll be right back, and I got to get us some light on here. Whew, mercy. back. How many did we lose? Not many. Maybe one viewer. Cool. They'll come back. Getting into the next little stretch of games here. After the win against Missouri at home, and I'm giving you that win. That's not going to be a blowout win. You may win by 7 to 10 points there against Missouri at home, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt there. You're on the road at South Carolina on October the 10th. Loss. You're not winning. You're not winning that game against my Gamecocks. And, go on ahead when this thing's over and give me some comments down in the comment section below and tell me what an idiot I am, how I'm a homer, and, South Carolina sucks, and, Will Muschamp sucks, and blah, 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 and all this, that, and then you'll be lucky to win one SEC game. I get that. And my thing is, guys, I don't think we're going to have a good season. I really don't. I don't even know if we're going to finish with a winning record this season or even a break-even season, but I will tell you this. We're winning this game at home. The strength of your teams, your offensive line, the Gamecocks have a stout defensive line returning. We've got some production coming back at linebacker and Ernest Jones, leading tackler on the team. I think this will end up possibly being a low-scoring game, a lot more different than what the thing was last year. You're going to be looking ahead in a couple of weeks to the game against Alabama, and you're also coming off two SEC East games at home, where I think you're going to be a little bit beat up. You're coming off an Oklahoma game where I definitely think you're going to be a little beat up there. And, it's just a good spot for the Gamecocks to catch you. And my thing is, with Will Muschamp, and oftentimes you will see with a coach who's kind of a lame duck or someone who is, possibly, kind of, I don't want to put it in like these real gory terms, but like facing like the electric chair, of college football coaching, I guess you would say, that, all the stops are pulled out, and like I said before in this video, the kids love Muschamp. I mean, they love playing for him. Our offense this year is going to be once again retooled. Once again, we have no damn identity, and we don't know what we're doing. But I think that Mike Bobo will do some decent things with this offense. I think that there will be some wrinkles thrown in there. You might see some two tight end sets. You might see some stuff that are going to give these opposing defenses a fit, because they have no film on it. They don't know what to expect. Give me the Gamecocks to win there. I don't think it's going to be, a kind of blowout or anything like that. And this is definitely one I could see going the other way. Right now, as far as on the line of scrimmage, offensively, Tennessee way better than South Carolina versus our line of scrimmage offensively. But the defensive line, we got some good players up there. Ricky Sandage, who's going to be a junior, is a really good player. Zach Pickens, another good player. What's his name? J.J. Ingabare, another kid who he needs to learn to keep his temper in check a little bit. He's another really good player. So I could see this being a stalemate type game, and I could see the Gamecocks pulling this one out at home, and I do think that we take the win over you there, leaving you with a record of 3-3 through 6 games. The next week you're off, and then after that you travel. You're at home at Neyland Stadium against Alabama, third Saturday in October, right? Loss. I see this one playing out a lot like our game played out against Alabama last year, in that I can see you keeping it close for a half. Emotion can go a long way in these things. By this time of the year, you should know who your receivers are and have a solid thing on that. Your running back position, which I expect to be filled in the first string by Eric Gray, should be solid by that point in time. Like I said, wide receiver, quarterback, it should all be developed and into the scheme by that point in time. So I can see, all the stars coming into alignment and you playing really well for a half. Thing is, Alabama, offensively, I think they're just going to overwhelm you. whether they go with Mac Jones or they go with the incoming freshman kid, they're going to be really hard to stop. They don't have that Jerry Jeudy anymore, but they do have Najee Harris, who's a hell of a ball player. He's a hell of a ball player. Jalen Waddle, another kid he's really good too. Really shifty out there. I like watching the way Najee Harris. I mean, the touchdown run, the pass that he caught against my Gamecocks, and the subsequent run down the sideline. I mean, it was just comical. And the way they tried to tackle him, it really was. Devontae Smith, another one coming back. They got most of the offensive line in check, which is scary also. And then on defense, they've got some key pieces like Dylan Moses coming back. Patrick Surtain, Dylan Moses was hurt most of last year. You're not beating those guys. And then you got the chip on the shoulder thing from Nick Saban. And, if they don't make the playoffs, I mean, when has he not made the playoffs? I mean, this is the first time, I think, since the playoffs started that they didn't make playoffs. So they'll have a chip on their shoulder and something to prove this year. And, I mean, you're not getting in their way. So I'm going to give you a loss there. Then you drop 3 and 4. By this point in time, you got a losing record. Thing is, the most of the rest of your schedule is favorable. On October 31st, which is Halloween, you travel to Arkansas, and I'm going to give you a win there. I think Arkansas is going to have a tough road to hoe this year in SEC play, but don't let that fool you. Because I know the past 3-4 years they've been really bad in SEC play. That just really bad overall. Poor coaching. I don't understand why Brett Bielema was hired in the first place. I mean, that was not a good fit at Arkansas. It was not a good fit at all. So they had to go to Chad Morris to try to get a quick fix to get them out of this mess. I mean, he wasn't, he wasn't a good fix. And I think that maybe if they had stuck with Chad Morris for a while and given him some time, I think he might have been able to pull it out. And nothing against that, because he's a Clemson guy, and y'all know how I feel about Clemson guys. I mean, I hate them. I really do. But I think that Morris was a good coach, and I think eventually, if he could have gotten some talent in there, he may have been able to make Arkansas into something respectable. But I mean, they did not. I mean, that losing to Western Kentucky and North Texas, I mean, when you didn't even cover the damn punt, I mean, these things are just so embarrassing that, I mean, it was just so overwhelmingly bad that they ended up just giving Morris the boot before he ever really even had a chance to get his feet on the ground at Arkansas, which I think was kind of unfortunate there. But unfortunately, I mean, that's how it goes in college football. I mean, you got to come in there and win. And it's not been that long ago that Arkansas had Felix Jones going this way and Darren McFadden going the other way. These guys were carving up defenses, gashing them for like 400 yards rushing a game, and they were good. And they have been good in the past. It's not, and I said the other night on the podcast, I think that they will return to relevancy quicker than Tennessee will. Okay. Thing is, I don't think they'll do it this year, but I like the hire they made with that Sam Pittman guy. I mean, it's an unconventional hire. It's something different that we've never seen anybody do. I mean, the guy never even been a coordinator before. Where have you heard that at? Where have you heard that at before? Who's the guy that was never a coordinator before? They turned his team into a national champion. Who did that? I'll let y'all think about it. I'm not saying the same thing here with this guy, but I like his attitude. I like the energy he brings there. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have the Jimmies or the Joes, as Uncle Lou would say, to compete this year in the SEC. But they may win an SEC game. And I'm going to give you a win here, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. And Tennessee, they're eventually going to win an SEC game. Don't let it be you. Don't let it be you that they knock off. So there we go. You got 4 games left, and you are 4-4 at this point in time, and heading back home for a game against Kentucky on November the 7th. Win. I think you guys win that game. They're a lot like you. They have a really good offensive line. Their defense is kind of mediocre. I think they do have the edge over you in coaching. I'm just going to say that. I think that Mark Stoops is one of the most underrated coaches in college football, and that would be another one on my short list of candidates to take over Will Muschamp's position as well. But, I mean, really, though, moving from Kentucky to South Carolina is kind of a lateral move, and I'm not really sure that we can pay him, a whole lot more than what he's making at Kentucky. I know that the South Carolina football generates more than Kentucky football, but Kentucky basketball generates a lot more than South Carolina basketball. So they got that money coming in as well. But I mean, this guy is hands down a better coach than Will Muschamp, and he's got his program heading in the right direction. Ours is treading water. They got to do some stuff at some skill positions as well. They don't have a headliner at wide receiver this year. They got a kid named Josh Ali, who's pretty good. Running back position wise, they're better than you there. They got Jalen Rose coming back. Right, or AJ Rose. AJ Rose, I don't know where I got Jalen from. AJ Rose coming back, and another kid, Cavassier Smoke, I think is his name. And then another kid named Daniel Rodriguez, who's decent. So I got kind of a three-headed monster. Quarterback-wise, they're horrible. Terry Wilson coming back. He was hurt most of last year. He was terrible in 2018. Benny Snell, running back, carried that team to like 10 wins. This guy was Jake Bentley-like as far as throwing interceptions and making bad decisions. Not taking anything away from him. I mean, that's just who he is. Not a good quarterback, and he's supposed to be the incumbent starter. I think you will see the Auburn transfer, Joey Gatewood, make some headway there. We really don't know a lot about Joey Gatewood. They just they gave the starting position at Auburn last year to Bo Nix, because him and Joey Gatewood kind of battled over the summer to see who was going to get that one, and Nix got it, and Gatewood was kind of left behind. I guess he got a little bit pissed off, and I think he's one that he exactly told the coaches everything they want to hear all the time. So he transfers out to Kentucky. So we'll see what he's about. But I'm giving you the win there. It's because of the fact that it's at home, and there's not a lot of home advantage, I don't think, this year in the SEC. I went from 23 thumbs up to 22. Who gave me a thumbs down, or who took their thumbs up away? You need to put your thumbs back up there, damn it. Don't do me like that. That's just wrong. Well, now they went down to 21 out, Gary. Listen here. You know what? You can go suck on a corn dog. But you get the win there against Kentucky. It'll be now they went down to 21. They're trying to be a smart ass. You little shithead. Now they went to 22. Stop it. You'll get the win there, but it will be a close one. Now we're up to 24. I love you too. We're on the road at Georgia, or not we. They're not my we. Why did I say we? Why am I not getting any chats on here? I did something wrong with my settings. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've done a video live. I've got to fix my settings back so I can get the chats. Don't know what I did. I hate that. It is what it is, though. I'll respond to your comments later. You're on the road at Georgia on November the 14th. So your bye week was right before Alabama. Probably a pretty good time to get a bye week. This would probably be a good one for you to get it too. Because I don't see you winning that game against Georgia at home. I mean, that's just not happening. Or on the road. Just a little bit too talented for you. And so I don't think you're beating any of the so-called Big Four this year. I mean, you're just not. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs and win that one. The last two games of the year, I'm giving you wins in. At home against Troy on the 21st, and then on the 28th, you're on the road at Vanderbilt. I'm going to give Tennessee the win in both of those games. Vanderbilt's replacing a lot of players again. I think Derek Mason could be on the way out there, which is sad because I think he's a good head coach. He just doesn't have a lot of work with. But, I mean, he did take that job. So this is going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 wins on the year, and you're going 7-5. I mean, could this thing swing another way? Yes. And the big swing game there, the game against South Carolina, yes, I'm a homer. And yes, I made that pick a little bit out of my own personal bias, but you know, you could go 8-4. You know, if you beat South Carolina on the road, and then you know, on the flip side, you could remain 7-5. And looking at any of these games as the ones that you could lose, that I have you picked to win, is the one at home against Kentucky. I mean, that's not a solid win. Kentucky has overachieved every year. Last year, everybody thought they were going to take a step back because Benny Snell was gone, and I mean, they really didn't take a step back until at the first of the year. They took a step back. They got the quarterback position figured out, and then they ended up going to a bowl game and they won the Belt Bowl against Virginia Tech. Yeah. My Gamecocks didn't win the Belt Bowl against the team from Virginia. There's something to think about. So 7-5 is where I see you this year, and you'll make another bowl game, another mid-tier bowl. Another maybe Music City Bowl. I don't see they're not going to put you in the Gator Bowl again. You know, you're going to be above the Independence Bowl type tier, but yeah, 7-5, 8-4 is about where I see you this year. A good team. I think that it'll be enough to get Jerome Pruitt, you know, another stay in Knoxville. They're not going to be ready to kick him out the door again, but still not a great team. And what's holding you back is just basically skill position talent. You don't have the wide receivers. You don't have the Jimmies and the Joes there to stack up the big boys in the SEC. And, you know, your quarterback play. I mean, it's suspect. So we'll see what happens there. Running back wise, I mean, once Eric Gray gets into his own, I think you'll be okay. I'm pretty high on this kid, but that all remains to be seen. And then, like I said, defensively, you're just middle of the road. You're not you're not great, but you know, you're not like, it's not like you have Swiss cheese holes in the middle of your defense either. I mean, you're going to be able to stop some people. So 7-5 is where I see the Tennessee Vols, guys. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to address them. And before we do another live video, I will get this fixed because I want to see your live comments, and I don't know why I can't see them, and that really upsets me. You know, to the point where you know, I may just have to finish this Miller Lite off and then go head right into another one to drown my sorrows. I really will. But anyway, I appreciate you watching this video. Thanks a lot, guys. If you enjoyed it, please do hit it all with a thumbs up. Stop it. Hit it with a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Carolina Jackpot channel if you're not already subscribed. We do college football videos here all the time, and we have a heck of a lot of fun doing it. And I really do appreciate the interaction and the subs. So thank you. I'll see y'all later. Appreciate you. Peace. And I'm out. Go Gamecocks. Fire Coach Boom, please.